So we're going to be talking about how to get the equation of a line. Right, this will be a review lesson from last year for many of you guys, and we'll try to look into them together. So first, here it is, find the slope of the line that's given through these 2 points. So let me try to draw a line right over here. Okay, now why don't you work on that a little bit, and meanwhile you can pause the video till you get the answer, or you can just continue to watch as we go through this one together. Alright, so slope formula m will be equal to, as you all know, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So here, if you consider this one as a second point and consider this one as the first point, it doesn't really matter which one is one, as long as we keep the order the same. So here y2 becomes 4 minus y1 here becomes 1 over x2 becomes 2 from right here. X1 becomes negative 4 minus negative 4. And as you can see here, we end up getting 3 over 6, which ultimately goes to 1/2. So that's right. So 1/2 becomes our slope. How about the second part? Find an equation of the line using this slope. Alright. Once again, if you want to work on it yourself, then you can pause the video or you can continue with us. Since general form of the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, and later in the video we will talk about other formats also, which can be quite useful for us to use. But for now, we'll stick with y equals mx plus b, slope y-intercept format. That's right, m represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. Among many ways which you can approach this question, one way is, since we know the slope as 1/2, what we can do is this: y equals 1/2 x plus b. That's what we can do so far. But knowing the fact that 2 and 4 can be placed in x and y accordingly, we'll end up getting a new answer, or a new expression. That is, y equals 4, and then x equals 2, as we complete the expression 1/2 m plus b. Alright, then here we end up getting 2 and 2 cancels out, 4 equals, therefore 1 plus b, and as we subtract 1 from each side, we will end up getting b will be equal to, this is 1 by the way, b will be equal to 3. Now, in fact, this is quite interesting because we found out the value of b was equal to 3, but as you can see, y-intercept happened to be 3 also. Now, given that our final equation of a line will be y equals 1/2 x plus 3. That becomes our final answer. Alright, so we're going to practice with a few more questions likewise, and let's see what happens. Next, what if I were to say, find an equation of a line that passes through let us say negative 1, comma 6, and 4, comma 2. Alright, so why don't you work on it? Okay, great. So, if you're to follow the format of y equals mx plus b, the first thing which we need to know is what the slope is. Let's try to find the slope. Slope is y2, which is, let's call this one as y2, for example, minus y1, which will be the first y value, which is equal to 6, over x2, which is 4, minus x1, happen to be negative 1. All right, then the numerator becomes negative 4. Denominator becomes 5. So knowing that, how are we going to find out what b is? Since we know the y equals negative 4/5 x plus b, and we can use any one of these 2 points. Why don't we try to use the second point? Once you plug in 4 in place of x and 2 in place of y, we should be able to figure out the value of b. Now, then we get 2, which is equal to negative 4/5 x becomes 4 plus b. Now here we end up getting then 2 equals 4 times 4 becomes 16, so negative 16/5 plus b. Alright, so how are we going to find out the value of b? All we have to do is add 16/5. Add 16/5. And of course b here becomes, these 2 cancels out, then we have 2 plus 16/5. Now, that would be equal to b, but 2 becomes in fact 10/5, so we end up getting 10/5 plus 16/5 equals b, where we end up getting 26/5 as b value. Then what is our final answer? Since this is a slope and this is our y-intercept, we end up getting y equals negative 4/5 x plus 26/5. That is our final answer. All right, let's try to go for one more question. This time, find an equation of a line with, let us say, x-intercept of 6 and y-intercept of, let us say, negative 3. Oh, wait a minute. If I were to give you this question, you will realize that y-intercept is negative 3, then that is equal to the value of b. Only thing that we need to find is the slope then. Okay, let's try to get going. If I were to sketch this one just to see it visually, x-intercept of 6, 3 here, so this would be x-intercept. Y-intercept of negative 3 would be right over here. So if I had an equation that passes through these lines, it would be something like this. Now, let's try to calculate this one. What is the slope? This point, this point would be 6, 0. That's the coordinate of that particular point. Here we end up getting 0, negative 3. So once again, 0 minus negative 3 over y2 minus y1, x2 is 6 minus 0. Then hence we end up getting 3/6, which is equal to 1/2. So we know the slope, we know the y-intercept. I think we are done. The equation is y equals 1/2 x minus 3. That's how we can find the equation. Now, next. This will be the part 2 of the lesson, as in how else can we express the equation of a line. Now, here, I'd like to introduce you to another way of writing the equation, that is called point slope form of a line. Now, for example, let us say we a line L has slope of 2, but passes through a point 2, 1. How are we going to calculate this? You see, all all the other points along this line, since we do not know the values of them, what we can do is this. What if we call them as all the other points along the line of L? We call them x comma y. Then since the slope is equal to 2, as you can see, what we can say is x minus 2, that goes to the denominator, and then y minus 1. You see we are writing the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That should be equal to 2 all the time, as long as x and y is on that line. Then simply what we can do is this. If you have to cross multiply, we'll end up getting y minus 1 is equal to 2 times x minus 2. And this, in fact, is called point, because of the point, slope form right over here, slope form of an equation of a line. Very simple, isn't it? All right, then let's try to do that one more time. How about, what if we had to copy the question that we have done earlier? For example, this one. So I'm going to copy this question. So here, as we talked about it earlier, what is the slope? Slope would have been 2 minus 6 over 4 minus negative 1, and we end up getting negative 4 over 5, just like earlier. We know the 2 points. How about the other points along that line? Since we do not know, why don't we call them as x comma y? Then what we can do is this. We'll end up getting y minus, we can pick either point, it doesn't really matter. Let's pick this point, since this one looks, okay, why don't we pick this point, since it has negative, just to see the various stuff. So y minus 6, y2 minus y1, over x2 minus x1 becomes minus negative 1. What is that slope? As long as x and y is along the line, the slope must be negative 4 over 5. And in fact, if you have to simplify this one, we'll end up getting y minus 6 over x plus 1. That's equal to negative 4 over 5. I understand we can cross multiply, but this time, what if we just multiply by the denominator? Then we'll end up getting x plus 1 has to be multiplied in both sections. Then we'll end up getting, these two cancels out, we have y minus 6, which is equal to negative 4 times x plus 1. And that is the equation of the line. All right. And knowing that, let me try to get you one more question. What if I want to say the point on the line is a comma b, and slope is equal to m? And can you write an equation of this line? Yes, you can, of course, based upon the previous one that we have done. How are we going to do it? Y, arbitrary point x comma y, along this line, would be y minus b should be equal to, or over, x minus a. You see, finding the slope formula should be equal to m. And if you multiply by the denominator on both sides, we'll end up getting y minus 6, which is equal to, or y minus b, sorry, is equal to slope m times x minus a. And this becomes point slope form of a line. Now, then one thing that you might wonder is this. Okay, this is the value that we got from last time. I mean, this is the value that we get from point slope form. And this is the equation that we got from y equals mx plus b format. Let's see if these two will match or not. So I forgot to write that over 5, my bad. Then here, y minus 6, which is equal to negative 4 over 5 x. And when you distribute this one here, and over the other side, we get negative 4/5. Now, by adding 6 on each side, we'll end up getting y by itself is equal to negative 4/5 x, which is the same. Now, since 6 is equal to 30 over 5, when you subtract 4 over 5 from 30 over 5, we'll end up getting plus 26 over 5. Haha, does that look somewhat familiar? Was that the answer that we got earlier? That's right. So therefore, we realize that both method works. And this form is the point slope form of the equation of the line. All right, great. Have a nice day. See you.